Welcome to the Photography Opinion Podcast. We discuss all things photo, video, and camera related. I'm Ben Lucas.
And I'm Stuart Marlantis.
And this is Photo Op. Hello, podcast listeners. We have a very quick special bonus episode for you. So this wasn't long enough to fill a normal time slot. So we are just bringing you a quick Q&A that we wanted to get out of the way from a few of our listeners. So first up, who do we have, Stuart?
We have Nathan, and he has the question, with the weather turning colder and wetter, how does an entry-level shutterbug find safe and responsible studio space during the pandemic? I'd like to get back to practicing on living individuals again, but as in all things, safety first, which implies he's currently practicing on dead individuals. So that's a little concerning. Nathan, what's going on?
Life. Let's see. Macy's went out of business and I got a really cheap mannequin. If you are just practicing your lighting techniques, practice on a mannequin. If you don't have a mannequin with a face, you can get a wig head, like a foam wig head for just like a couple of dollars at like Joann's or something. Practice on that. If it is less about your technique or your lighting or anything like that and you genuinely need a live person, don't. Practice on whoever's living in your house. How do you find studio space? You kind of can't, especially because we are currently living in Washington with the new lockdown restrictions. You can't.
Yeah, I was also going to share the ever popular abuse your significant other or other people that live in your house.
Please don't actually abuse them, but use them as your model.
Yes.
The other thing too is shoot outside.
Yeah.
Shoot outside, wear face masks, stay 6 feet away. I'm sorry we don't have a good answer to your question. I have been trying to open my own studio for months, but the reason why you haven't seen any studio updates is because I can't get contractors to come in and finish the things that would then allow me to progress. It took me months just to get the electric and the lighting in. So you'll see a studio update soon, and as soon as the pandemic is over, Nathan, I invite you I know you. I invite you personally to come over and use it. But sorry, man, I don't have a better answer for you. Safety first.
It's really tricky. You need to check on your local laws. You need to. This unfortunately is not something that we can reasonably answer for everyone. If you're in Washington State, then you're basically out of luck right now. For like Ben said, try to use your own space around your home with still lifey kind of practice. If you have to shoot people, then shoot outside with a good buffer and masks and all that stuff. But studio space is not good right now. But we'll be covering Ben's studio space over time when there are more developments.
Soon.
Soon.
Yes. All right. Next question comes from Svetlana. Hello, Svetlana. How do I know if a camera is gray market and what is the difference?
Okay, gray market. So this is basically a lot of camera manufacturers and lens manufacturers, equipment manufacturers in general, have gray market merchandise, and what basically that is it's merchandise intended for a cheaper price in a different country, and somebody buys it from that country and imports it at that cheaper price into your country, and then sells it at a slightly inflated so that they have a margin but still cheaper price. So all that is to say is it's basically the same thing.
Theoretically.
Theoretically, it's the same thing. In theory, it's too expensive to have separate product lines for stuff like cameras and lenses. But the main difference is in the warranty. There are some manufacturers that do have worldwide warranty coverage, and no matter where you buy it, you will have the same warranty coverage as anybody else. And that's really cool, but a lot of them do not. And if you buy a gray market item, they will not, either your repairs will be much more expensive or they won't repair it at all. So that is kind of the gray market trap. In theory, if everything's good, sometimes you can save money that way. Yeah. But you got to be careful. How do you know if a camera's gray market? Oftentimes you can't. That's the thing is often they're built on the same product line. Usually the serial number will indicate what market it is intended to be sold in. So you should definitely Google your cameras, Google for information about your manufacturer's serial numbers. You might even just Google, like Canon gray market, Nikon gray market, Sony gray market, whatever manufacturer you've purchased from. That is often some people will say like, well, if you have this serial number, if it's got these letters at the beginning, it's for this market, and then if it's gray market or not. But oftentimes you can't, and especially for manufacturers that don't really have a distinction in warranty, it's just the same thing.
If you are paying close to full retail from a trusted distributor, my personal favorite is B&H, but Adorama is also really good, or your local dealer.
Camera store.
Then you're probably okay.
Yeah.
But if it sounds too good to be true, it's gray market, and the downside is your warranty or repairs down the road, which I would say. If it is a cheap enough thing that you're willing, when it breaks, you're willing to call it a loss, then cool, buy gray market. But if it is an expensive enough thing, definitely go first party, and make sure because I've had a button fall off my Canon before, and I send it in, and they fixed it for free, and that wouldn't have happened. So, it's just a question of priorities. It is totally okay to buy gray market if you feel that it's worth it to you and you're willing to write it off. Well, maybe I shouldn't say it's okay. There's some discussion about the morality of gray market stuff. It is legal. You can do it. It is legal, and you can.
Personally, I don't
save some money, but
yeah, the only things that I have bought that are gray market are products that literally are not offered in the United States. Like I bought this stereo mic that is really cool from Audio-Technica, and although Audio-Technica sells products in the United States, they don't sell the specific stereo mic. It's only available in Japan of all places, so I imported it from Japan. Technically, it's a gray market item in that it's a market that I'm not going to get any warranty service for it or anything. It's a market that exists outside of where I live in the United States, but that was the only way to get it, and it was cheap enough that if it does just break, I'm not going to be super upset. So that's the kind of stuff where I will buy gray market merchandise, but for like my primary stuff, lenses, cameras, and stuff like that, I don't bother. I wait for sales or I buy a generation behind. So,
all right, next question.
Mac, how do you make your own V-flats cheaply?
Yeah, so there are a set of V-flats. They're like $150 or $200 each. You can buy a combo pack of 2. This has been showing, literally it's been nothing but V-flats in my Facebook feed for like 6 months, and they're like $350 for a pair of them. So I understand. One thing I will say is if you are using them all the time and they need to be collapsible and travel, just bite the bullet and spend the money. There are some things that are just worth it, and this really sucks, but it's unfortunate. So if you need to look nice and they need to travel, just buy it. But that said, how do you make them cheaply? You go to your hardware store, you buy 4x4 sheets of just like foam board. You could actually buy a 4x8 sheet of like insulation if you wanted. And then you either just paint it if it's a big sheet of insulation that you can't, tape off easily, or use gaff tape. Just to cover the seam so it'll stay flat. So V-flats, you really want them to be white on one side and black on the other, so that way you can easily create them reversible. But yeah, you basically just tape these big foam board sheets together. You don't want to use like plywood or anything like that that's way too heavy, because you won't be able to move them, or it could be dangerous if they do fall. But you also don't want to use like plastic, because plastic will leave specular reflections. Yeah. So you really want something that is nice and soft and has a low reflective quality, like foam board. So there you go. That's how you make cheap V-flats. Our last question today is bonus lightning round episode. Sherry asked, I don't trust my 85mm. Does anyone else have a lens they don't trust? I've calibrated it, and even at f8, images seem soft. I do have a lens that I don't trust. Send in for repair.
Yes. Like any relationship, if you can't trust your partner, then you should break up. In this case, the 85 millimeter being your partner. And in any case, yes, I have lenses that I don't trust. I am aware of their lack of trustability, and
you shouldn't have them in your kit if you can't trust them.
I don't use them for anything professional. Let's put it that way. Like there's stuff that I can't trust, but they're like old vintage lenses, or there's stuff that's super cheap that I'm just like screwing around with, and I know they're not accurate, and I know it will take a bunch of work to get them to function, but it's experimental. So if you can't trust it and it's experimental, in my opinion, that's fine. If it's an 85 and you're trying to work with it, then send it in for repair, or unfortunately, at worst, you might have to buy a new one. There are shops that'll try to repair lenses that are out of whack. Sometimes you get a focus. Your lens the focus will get out of alignment, and
I've had that happen before.
If
you drop a lens, it's called an impacted barrel, and it won't focus correctly, and you can have that repaired.
Yeah.
For a cheaper lens like the 85-1.8, it might be easier just to buy a new lens and ditch that one, give it to someone who's learning. For a more expensive lens like the 85-1.2, just pay the $200 or $300 to have it fixed.
Yep. So there you go.
And my LED light battery died. So that is telling us that we are done for today. No more questions. No, but seriously, if you do have any more questions, please send them in. It is hello@photo-op.show. Thank you so much. We only have a couple more episodes before we will be closing out the season to allow us and all of you to just kind of enjoy your holiday season. And we'll see you on Sunday in our holiday gift guide. So thank you so much, and stay tuned. We have many more shoppable things, and if you have any questions, happy to answer them. If you have questions or ideas for future episodes, you can email us at hello@photo-op.show.
Watch us on Ben's YouTube channel at NomCreative.
As in Om Nom Nom.
Share this with a friend, and you can listen to Photo Op anywhere podcasts are sold.
Or download it. 'Cause it's free.